Buenos dias, matosinhos. I always wanted to say this out loud, so here we go. I didn't prepare anything about myself, but basically I just like to let you know that it's going to be 27 years this month that I graduated from ESAD, which I have one of my professors, João, I don't know where you are, but thanks for making it here. And that's how ancient I am, or that's how long I've been having fun. So basically, I was seeing Ilia's Jira thing, which was pretty awesome. And I thought, I haven't looked at a Jira or Confluence or even Notion for that matter in like 3 months, which I've been, for the past year, something I've been kind of busy doing different consulting projects, different parts of the world. And for the last 3 months, I start decreasing my work for Google and start playing around with interfaces for AI, because I feel like all the hype about, what, ChatGPT and AI is going to kill us, AI is going to save us. It's been, frankly, boring, but I think there's something pretty interesting in there. And I think designers play a great role in here. So we all talk about AI. I was hearing jokes from some friends that I have here in the audience say like, "Are you going to talk about AI again?" Like, this is so 2023. And for me, the thing is that AI is great for a lot of stuff. Ethan Mollick's professor at Wharton Business School in Philadelphia. CAT scans, X-rays, all that stuff that was outsourced in hospitals. Now you can do it. You can, there's a number of things that picking up stocks. ChatGPT is better than most predictive models because it has a human side of it. That's also interesting. Although, you pick whatever stocks you want to pick. Don't trust ChatGPT. This is great. It's really good, and I have felt this because I've been working mostly, which is called the Global South or the Global Majority, which is basically Latin America, Africa, some places in Southeast Asia. And it's incredible how this has been like to level the field. Like they always say, Nuno, we are outnumbered, out budget, but we're not outgunned anymore. So there's a number of papers from, the best universities, University College London, Harvard, Yale, that they mentioned that they prove that ChatGPT, Bard, now Gemini, has helped entrepreneurs, people starting business endeavors in their own countries, actually have a really valid and a tangible advantage on working on this. So I don't know how many people here have GPTs, have built GPTs for themselves. They're incredible. There's limits, there's complications, but they're incredible. So just to let you know that there's a lot of things we can do with it, and most of the providers, the Googles and the OpenAIs of the world, sort of pushes into doing magic gimmicks, and those become old very quickly. And what I start feeling is that if we start, understanding what prompts are, what parameters that we're giving, if you start, trying to use different interfaces for that, we would take much more, use and advantage of the AI as we're doing, compared to what we're doing right now. So one thing that strikes me is that this is, of course, we all know this Copilot, which is, I don't know, I didn't ask anybody here a developer. By the way, do you mind? I know you guys are sort of falling asleep. Do you mind like standing up, everyone, not just the developers, like the regular people also too, like, do you mind just standing up, please? Cool. I'm seeing some really sleepy face. I'll just run a quick activity here. So who identifies as a woman here? Who's under 30? Who's above 40? Who drives an electric car? Who forgot to turn off their cell phone? There you go. Who rides a bicycle? Who likes sushi? Who has an iPhone? Who has Android? Who's married? Who has kids? Who has had sex in the last week? Bunch of liars. So this is just to, thank you, you can sit down now, thank you. So basically this is to let you know that, and Copilot is great, is that I didn't know who you were. I was thinking like, in my brain was going, how many developers do I have here? I was like, okay, I'm gonna ask people. So I didn't know who you were, and this goes back to what Marilia was explaining we work for people, we talk for people. So, and with generative AI, I'm going to be using AI as mostly generative AI. I mean, I've trained algorithms, machine learning, deep learning, all those things, sort of a mix of basically, mostly I'm talking about generative AI. And we need to think that we're talking to people and we're interacting with people, and with people that don't have a lot of, proficiency in a number of things and how technology works, but they do have needs, and do they have, anxieties and urgencies. The business example from these papers is super interesting because people didn't really knew how to work with ChatGPT, but they found ways of making ChatGPT useful for them. And those ways weren't very obvious. Well, I don't like when Sam Altman puts, this is my favorite prompt. It's like, dude, like this is good for what you're doing in your company, not even for yourself. And some of those prompts are guiding the users towards, things that they don't want to do and processes that are not super, advantageous for them. And you all know this question, the answer is that the reason why ChatGPT went through the roof and had all this success is basically the interface. Everybody knows how to write. Everybody understands the notions of writing. A lot of people don't understand what a good prompt is, trash in, trash out, but that's their own problem. But people knew how to speak machine. People knew how to translate to the machine. And that was like the gotcha moment, like, okay, this is all right. Because, ChatGPT, GPT 3.5 that went to ChatGPT, the free version, it wasn't technologically and in terms of the training model, wasn't all that amazing. And you can correct me in a bunch of things here, but basically overall it wasn't. But this was what transformed the interaction. This is what, got all the enthusiasts and all the doomers to talk about AI. The problem is that the only thing that there was, in my opinion, well done here is that, we have an interface, we can speak machine, but is this the only interface? Is this the interface that we really need? And they start going around in my, I'm not particularly smart, but I'm sort of, stubborn and curious. So I start going, okay, where is this going? And when I say check your phones, like from all, you can be a virtual checker, you can check your phones right now, but it's just like, from all the apps that you use, and ChatGPT was launched a bit over a year and a half ago, how many of those apps have changed since that? What do they do anything new? It's all the same thing. Something that really annoys me is that most of the apps that I use don't really know who I am, don't understand where I am, don't give me anything that's going to improve my life in the past year and a half. Also, there's no personalization, there's no pleasantries elements that has been given with all the logic of having generative AI involved in any of the products that we're doing. So basically, and I'll try to speed it up because I know you guys wanna have a beer. Basically, what I've come to this conclusion, not because I'm super smart, but because I'm mainly stubborn, and I was kind of annoyed with what's going on with the chat interfaces, is that what the models that we have, like the Geminis and the ChatGPTs and the Claudes of the world, are going to become more and more commodities. I use Claude for a number of things. My wife goes crazy with me, like, what do you call it more human? Like, try to ask these kind of questions to Claude. Try to ask these kind of questions to ChatGPT. By the way, if you have $20 a month, use the paid version of ChatGPT. It's a complete game changer. But those models are commodities, and what changes are the quality of data that you put through that, and the interfaces that you're using. I mean, if the interface is going to be text, you can, Inflection AI is giving you automated prompts or suggested prompts. Those are great, but those are not, a game changer. Those are not going to give you anything new. And they're guiding you to the use of the technology. That's, again, it's not going to be incredibly good for you. So there's a lot of innovative interfaces that can, untap data that you don't have. You cannot personalize. I won't repeat this, and I'm sure Nelson can share some of this with you guys, or you can reach out to me and I can give you some of this stuff. Basically, I was trying to compress a lot of information here, but basically is that context, ambient, being multimodal, collaborative, and just appear and disappear. Don't be always present. And there's different moments and different importance. Like one thing is I'm trying to do a health check on my device on a remote area without a doctor. The other thing is I'm playing a game, or I'm trying to reach my bank because I have a fraud alert, or I'm trying to send a photo to this girl that I actually fancy, or my daughter, whatever. So basically, there's different moments, there's different importances, and generative AI can and should be able to help you work on that. And those are the interfaces that we still don't know where we're going. We're learning, experimenting. I've been asking a lot of questions. Is super cool, but also super frustrating some days. And a lot of this thing lays in the interface. Like we need to stop thinking and being a bit dumb in terms of thinking like AI is like an answering bot. Or think about this like interpreter, transformer, synthesizer of information in a really, really good grade of accuracy. And hold on. And basically, and just to conclude, this is, and Maria talked about a lot about trust. Ilya also talked about how to correct your mistakes. The thing about us is that we need to realize we need to build this relationship with our interfaces, whatever tools that we have. And one of the reactions we have with AI is either frustration or suspicion or not lack of trust. And frankly, a lot of the models have been sort of the causes of that. But this system, the way we interact with them, it's like a relationship. It's like a first date. First you swipe Tinder to the right side, and then you have the first date, and you have the second date, and then things start getting interesting, and then you start learning this and learning that. This is the same thing with AI, but basically it's very personalized. It's making your life easier. It's not being intrusive, but also at the same time, it's not being, it can be playful, but it doesn't have to be, idiotic in the sense like, oh, this is useless for anything. So basically, what Maria said, and also Lee, like, talk to the people, check with the people, do interviews, understand what's going on, but also realize that this technology might allow for things we haven't done before, like push. Try something different. Like if people had told us like 15 years ago that we'd be doing pinching on our phones or swiping on doing that, we thought people, you're crazy. Those gestures are completely normal for us right now. So there's a bunch of things we still don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to be a lot of, emotions, context, trust building, and just, delivering delightful experiences. And basically keep on asking questions. I listen to myself, and I know like I sound like the priest of the future, AI interfaces, but, last 2 weeks ago, because when I was kind of like doubting myself, I got invited for this, 3 months ago, I got invited for this big foundation that works mainly in the global south about using technology for good and for health. And I got to go to this lovely place in Africa to talk to a bunch of partners. And what I realized is that the interfaces are a deal breaker, are a game changer. Now, I know it's all about designers, but it's also about how the data can interact with those interfaces. But 2 weeks ago, and this is where I was going, Johnny Ive, that I'm sure most of you people remember, has the guy that created the iPod and the iPhone and the iMac and sort of relaunch design at Apple, is joining forces with Sam Altman for OpenAI. And they want to raise close to $1 billion, and that's a lot of those dollar notes that Maria was saying. And also Johnny Ive is working with Brian Chesky from Airbnb to start developing new interfaces. The other thing with Sam Altman is also about interfaces, and I don't know if that's going to be a device or that's going to be a different sort of interfaces, but I know, and I feel sort of vindicated. I feel that this is where we're going. It's going to be, we need much better agents in terms of what we have right now. It could be sensorial, contextual, hyper-personalized. It should be incredibly useful and rewarding. And basically, this is the future that I hope we all going to be building. This is what's getting me excited and away from Jira and Confluence and all those delivery sprints that I sort of miss and sort of don't mix. But so basically, this is what I've been doing right now. I feel like as designers, and then product managers and engineers and also people with proper jobs, I think we have a way to, build the future that we want to be building and not depend on, the different business logics of the providers of generative AI being, Google or OpenAI or Inflection or whoever is building the shiny new thing that's going to push our lives further in a sense. They have a set of norms and rules and goals that don't necessarily align with most things we can do. But in a sense, if we start developing these interfaces and with the help of also these people with money, we can prove there's a business viability for that. And what Marilia said is really, really important. If you're a designer, you don't know what's in it for the business, even if it's just pushing a pixel to the side, you're in the wrong line of business and on the wrong job, frankly. So pretty much that's it. I think there's beer somewhere outside. And obrigado. Thank you. It's been a true pleasure.
So, any questions? Not so fast, Nelson.
I'm very curious. Thank you for the presentation. There was something on your presentation that really sparked something. It was when you. No, it was when you said about the phone. Check your phones. What apps you use the most, how much they've changed, and they haven't. They haven't changed. But what you do see is the future of interfaces. So having agents being more bespoke towards who you are. Do you see an evolution? And this, you can ramble on, but do you see an evolution on the service side, or should I say the apps, towards being more AI? Or do you see an abstraction coming in and being that interface that will communicate with the apps and be something a little bit more conscious of who you are?
Playing the futurist side here, I think we're gonna have both, and we're also gonna have stuff that we still don't know what's even in the abstraction thing. We had an era of skeuomorphism, so to speak, and then everything went flat, which was great. And now people are tendency fed up with sort of screens. They want some three dimensions, work in their lives. And this is customer tendencies reports. But I think that if we make it useful, and if it make it, there's a bit of, I hate to use the word magic because magic is what screwed up ChatGPT in the first place and all that. But if there's this thing that's seamless, but you have this sort of delightful experience, and it's like when you first submit. This is how old I am. Like when you first submit your taxes online in this loving country of us, I was high-fiving myself. I was like, this is incredible. So there's this gotcha delight moment that we need to have in a number of things. I think the more serious health or fintech applications we're going to have is going to be more rewarding. But also I feel like the day-to-day thing, I don't have a smartwatch with me, but a lot of people I've seen here have it. There's a lot of sensorial things that you can do there. There's a lot of temperature. There's a lot of those things. There's a geolocation that you can it could be helpful. It could be also about, we're close to this restaurant that you enjoyed, or you give whatever 5 stars, and it's close to lunchtime. Yeah, I feel like your sugar levels are this. Do you feel like this could be this? There's a bunch of those things are going to be explored. Some are going to be ridiculous, but at the same time, Tinder was ridiculous for a lot of people, and then all my divorced friends are going to start on that. So it's a matter of how that is going to fulfill your needs in that moment. I think there's going to be a level of abstraction, but I don't think 40 years of human-computer interaction are going to go away, and GUI rules and also the heuristics. I mean, I have a few issues with Mr. Nielsen, but, his partner, Don Norman, he was my teacher, so I understand somewhere where it's going, but all those are not going to go away. So I think it's, as I was saying, I feel like a priest in a church telling, believe there's a God, although you're not seeing it, but there's going to be some devices. And the minute you have people they are capable of raising $1 billion and they have all this track record, you're going to have some things on the interfaces that are going to be interesting. Just a final note, I really appreciated what Marila told me about the trust and the security about giving you, the danger was here, we solve it for you. That can happen on an email from your hospital about your kid, about all these notions. There's this logic of keeping it human. And those sensorial things, I'm gonna like, oh, you have a spike in your sugar, you're gonna die. Like, no, it needs to be more human. It needs to be like a partner to you in a sense. But when people say, oh, AI needs to be human, like AI needs to understand some logic of human values and relationships, but it's still going to be a very smart, repetitive pattern repetition machine. So basically, this is a very Fidel Castro long for a short question.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. I think it's going to be a mix of those, and I can't wait to be part of that and can't wait to help build a future as I'm sure you guys are going to be doing. So I don't know if there's time for another question, but...
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Mas.
No pressure.
Any question?
It's just matosinhos.tech team wants to speak with you. Okay. So yeah, a lot of things to process. What I wanted to ask, it's basically as a designer, because I am a designer. Our knowledge is
okay.
Yeah. Our knowledge is at least in the beginning highly visual. So we start, or most of us, we start with visual things, and then then we add UX, and then it adds CX, and then it comes service design, and then it comes, well, so many other layers. And now we have voice interface, and then there is AI. Like, how can we keep up with all of this? How can we design for all of this? And if actually the term design, it's getting so abstract, like doing a button, it's design, but also doing AI, it can be design, and designing a service, it's design. So
we're problem solvers. You know, focus on the people and the problems you will be solving for them. And it's basically that. I mean, sometimes voice isn't a good option. Sometimes a simple text is a great option. Don't get overburdened by, and Marilio was taking a dagger on that, and I was like full on. I mean, agile. Service design is great, but it has its limitations. We all have these jargons. I mean, I was... when I was living in the States, I was monitoring this school at Stanford, and you know, design thinking is not a religion, but it has some interesting things. Like, you may design something that you can talk on a business, you know, in a business meeting in a boardroom, but if you keep on focusing on the people, on solving the right problems, asking the right questions, you can never go wrong. It's gonna be hell the whole time, because people are complicated, and you know. We have this test that people say, "Oh, this worked really well," but then it didn't work again well. It's like, when did you launch this? Is this, you know, did you test with the right people? So there's all these nuances need to change. But you know, designers are intrinsically problem solvers with a very good visual eye and taste. If you're a designer with bad taste, it doesn't matter how many questions you're going to ask. You're going to be lame also. But you know, it's finding the right problems, asking the right questions, killing your darlings. I mean, don't, you know, and this is since the visual, you know, graphic design years. I remember in João Lemo's class, people arriving and saying, oh, this is really shiny. It's like, so what is it for? It's a poster about what? I still don't know. So it's good in design school, because you can get slammed by your teacher and then start to learn. But the idea is that don't have a solution following the problem. And we have that a bit in AI right now, in generative AI right now. But if you ask the right questions, if you go through, you know, chasing the right problem and be relentless. Like, I think my two greatest qualities is I'm stubborn and I'm curious. And to be, I mean, I don't know if I can swear here, but doing matosinhos, so I don't give a rat's ass. I don't give a fuck about what people tell me you should not or should not be doing. I think I got myself into very interesting projects by keep on asking questions and proposing and chasing solutions. And if that is voice, I mean, I haven't touched Figma properly, although just to do some small things for the kids, I haven't touched Figma since the pandemic. So I touched Figma, and Figma was completely different after, you know, 2 years after the pandemic. I was like, what have you done to either me or the software? But I have done a bunch of reports, user testing, a bunch of, you know, I've had repicked my Python chops from back in, I don't know how many years ago. But it's like, this is what's serving me in terms of what I'm trying to do now. Voice is incredible. I mean, I haven't seen Jira in a while, and I feel like, am I missing out? Maybe not, maybe yes. So just focus on the problems you're solving, and don't be, oh, I haven't pushed any pixels in 2 months. do a side project, do something, do an app for the fun of, your friends and your paddle games or whatever. That's what I try to do when I have the itch for doing some visual thing. But you can solve things just by focusing on the people and the right problems. And I'm over talking again. You guys need to have a beer, but thank you so much for that. Hope that answered.